Hi, welcome to Pinoy Swiss Abroad. If you're new to my channel, please try to watch in full before subscribing. And also, please listen for the information.
Pass it on. The devastating difference between the two scenarios starts to become very clear.
We'd say it's an explosive outbreak will happen if someone with this virus goes into the community and no precautions are taken.
Sadly, you don't have to look far for real-life examples of that. Delta, which originated in India late last year, ran rampant through the nation.
And as such, we are classifying this as a variant of concern.
It moved through the UK, delaying their June restriction lifting.
The Delta variant is well on its way to becoming the dominant variant.
And most recently, it's raced against the New South Wales contact tracing system and easily won. The speed at which people become infectious just too quick.
I do have a sister in Melbourne, so when I told her last night that we were going into lockdown, she said, "Welcome to my world."
I'm from California. They're definitely having that surge of that Delta.
That's why now that we have it here, we're hoping to stop it with a lockdown. Professor Michael Baker says all of the measures we've put in place for other outbreaks will still work against this strain. Delta has dominated, but now it's our chance to come out on top. Alice Wilkins, News Hub.
Data from several studies shows it's about 2.5 times more contagious. Experts say this is partly because Delta victims appear to carry much more of the virus and for longer. And that helps explain why it can pack a bigger punch, causing more serious illness and more hospitalizations. It takes hold quicker too. Once infected, many people suffer symptoms a lot faster. That makes efficient contact tracing all the more critical. Testing and scanning in just two of our existing COVID-fighting weapons that will still work well if we use them right. The Pfizer vaccine gives strong protection against the Delta infection and serious illness if it does manage to break through. Social distancing and wearing masks around others are even more important now because Delta spreads so easily. Australia knows all too well just how dangerous the Delta strain can be. New South Wales posting more than 600 new cases today, yet another new daily record. Australia correspondent Andrew McFarlane has the latest.
For a stark reminder of how stubborn Delta is, you only need to look to New South Wales.
There were 633 cases of community transmission, and at this stage there are at least 62 of those that were infectious in the community during that time.
Sydney smashing its daily case record as the outbreak continues to careen out of control.
This is a highly contagious virus where it has 2 days less for incubation period. So people can be infectious very soon and not look as if they're unwell at all.
The state premier's patience wearing thin as she resists bringing in tougher lockdown measures.
Unfortunately, too many people continue to do the wrong thing. Excuse me, it's not your press conference. There's a lot of other journalists here as well. Can I just say this point? That we know the settings we have in place are some of the harshest that Australia has ever seen.
More than 50 days under lockdown, the rules continue to be flouted. Police issued 736 infringement notices. This anti-masker captured on CCTV, waving an unverified exemption in the face of a store owner in northwestern Sydney.
The rules are the rules. The time for grace periods and the time for being in a position where people can wrangle their way out of it with some excuses are over.
Got to keep people safe, and any measure's good.
As long as you got your mask on and you keep moving, then I think it's fair enough. As long as we keep the beaches open, eh?
There is a growing light on the horizon. As case numbers go up, so do the numbers of people getting a jab. Tomorrow, it's expected nearly half of all Australians will have had their first dose of a vaccine.
And Andrew joining us now. Andrew, is it fair to say authorities are now becoming overwhelmed with all the locations of interest there are?
Yeah, contact tracers are absolutely swamped here in Sydney, Simon. We've heard now that officials will no longer post those lower risk exposure sites online because there's just too many of them, and that's places like supermarkets and cafes, those locations people are still regularly visiting. Officials like police are still overwhelmed as well. Today we heard a worrying figure, 400 people who are meant to be isolating at home because they've been potentially exposed to the virus weren't doing so. Those are the people who could still be testing positive and spreading the virus further. And we do know that every single person testing positive for Delta here in Sydney is passing it on to at least another person.
Kia ora, Andrew. In Sydney, Australia correspondent Andrew McFarlane.